Hey doTERRA family, I am Ange Peters and I am so excited to share with you today on the topic of life by design. This is a topic that I've been studying and teaching about for years, and I have a lot to pack in with you in the next 20 minutes. So if you don't have it, please grab a pen and a notebook and let's dig into this topic together, shall we? So I want to open up by sharing a quote that has meant a lot to me over the years as I've been building doTERRA. And it goes, create the life you love and have the courage to live it. We have such a unique opportunity in doTERRA to do this. And so I'm really excited to dive into this content together. Now, I thought it would be helpful to open up by sharing there are two ways to build this business, okay? The first option is you can care about what everyone else is doing. You can compare yourself to everyone else. You can worry about what everybody thinks of you and how you're doing things. You can try to be the perfect leader. You can forget why you started. You can become a stress ball the higher in rank you grow. You can burn out. You can come to resent the work and eventually quit. Now, none of us want to go down that road, right? We want to go to option two. We want to go to the better option here, which is acting as if it's all up to you, telling the story that feels most true to you, living by design, growing in all areas at the same time, loving your life and thriving. If you are here for that, then I am here for you, okay? So I want to go through three separate realms under this topic. The first component of life by design is really owning your story, the story you're choosing to tell through the work that you're doing here. The second area is owning your strengths. And then we'll get into owning your time, where I'm going to give you more practical. It's going to be more of the meat of our talk. Your next level is tapping on your heart, and it's going to take a new approach to get there. And so take what you need from this talk. Maybe not all of it will resonate with you, but there will be, I promise you, something that you will take from this that you can look at adopting into the way you do things. So let's go into this first realm, owning your story. What we need to understand is that the story that we're telling is playing out in our business. Our business reflects that story that we're either actively telling or a story that we've perhaps borrowed from somebody else. You may be telling a different story today than when you first started. If you've been in this work for a couple years now, you'll notice that your energy around the work today is different. And so you're attracting different people to your business because of that. And your business is living and breathing. I mean, it is always responding to that story that you're telling. You know, some of my favorite stories to tell that I really weave throughout the work that I do is that this business is simple. This business truly is simple and it's fun and I can create effortlessly. And mentoring 1 million people doesn't make me a great leader. And I'm going to get into that a little more and why that's a specific story that I've had to become aware of. I attract the most fun, chill, and resourceful leaders. I mean, these are all stories that I've woven into my work. And the reason I'm opening up and sharing these with you is that whatever stories you're telling are actually playing out in your business, and you'll attract based on those. There are stories we may be telling that are actually blocking our flow and our growth. Some really common ones are, for example, I don't want to become wealthy because that will mean that everyone's going to want something from me. Or I don't want to grow to the next rank because it's going to mean even more stress and overwhelm. Or I'm not a good leader, so maybe you're actually not growing into that next rank. You really want to decide how you want this to go. It's a very empowering thing to realize that it is up to you what plays out here, because you can tell whatever story you're wanting to through the doTERRA vehicle. And if your business doesn't feel good, it simply means you've integrated a story about how this business is supposed to go and it just isn't serving you. So I want to encourage you within this first realm to write down, what are some of those stories you hold about your business? And how might that actually be playing out in the growth of your business and in the people that you attract? And the key thing to remember here is that you can only control your story. Okay, you can't control the story that others are telling or babysit their results because of the story they're telling. You own your story, and that's what's going to play out. Now, round two is great. This is here we want to think about our strengths, owning our strengths. And I want to share something with you that I learned recently that just it made everything make sense, okay? I know many of you have done your strengths, so you can come into this realm with that awareness. Your top 5 strengths, you guys, are your magnets in your business. When you do more things in your business within those 5 strengths, you have a business that is growing and thriving, and more importantly, a business that feels really good to you, so you want to keep pouring into it. Your bottom 5 strengths are actually like kryptonite in your business, okay? It won't be the business that tires us out. It's going to be the way we do it and the work that we focus on doing within our business. That's what's going to cause us to burn out if we are going to do that. So I want to dig in here and share with you why this is so important to understand. So if you look at your top 5 strengths, these hold the keys to your beautiful, thriving business. When you look at the work that you're doing, you can see how this is playing out. And I want to give you a personal example of this. So in my top 5, I have activator and maximizer and learner. And in my bottom are things like empathy. Okay, so I have a really tough time being in situations where I'm having to hear all the reasons why somebody might not be able to do something. That drains my life force. Whereas if I can be in a position in my business where I'm able to activate ideas, put them in motion, activate people into action, more people into action, that lights me up. And so one of the things I decided to do years ago was to stop all mentoring calls that didn't focus on actual business drivers. So because that was so draining to me, for somebody who is very high in empathy, and that's a gift and strength of theirs, those types of calls can be very life-giving, okay? That's just one example. But what I want you to be thinking about here is, of your top 5 strengths, how much of your time is being spent in those areas so that you're able to really thrive. And you'll notice that as you become more aware of this, you'll realize that the times that you're feeling drained or tired by your business is because you've been spending too much time in those bottom 5, okay? And we do flex, right? There are times as leaders and as business owners, you're pulling on different strengths at different times, right? But one activity I encourage you to do is to actually track your energy for a whole day and just notice what types of activities are actually causing you to drop and drain you, and what things are actually giving you life and breathing life into your business. And the goal really is to remain in those higher frequency states more often throughout the day. I mean, joy and gratitude are some of the highest frequency emotions we can feel. And when we are in those states, we will attract at such a higher level. You'll notice you're a magnet in your business when you're operating within those spaces. So I wanted to spend a little more time with you on this third realm because this is when we get into more of the practical. So when we talk about owning your time, here we're looking at conscious calendaring, really owning your time in that piece, qualifying the things that you're saying yes to in your business, and then time blocking. And the key thing to understand is we all joined this business for a significant reason. I think many of us can agree that we were attracted to this work because of the ability to have more freedom within our time, within our finances, that we could truly choose what we do within our work and therefore create a life that feels really good to us. If we join this movement and we value our personal health and our time freedom as being really high, we can't be doing work that doesn't allow for that. Now, as business owners, especially within doTERRA, we have this opportunity, right? There's a lot of people that work in corporate jobs that don't have the same opportunity you do to design their business and their life. Now, a lot of corporations are really catching on to this and looking at how they can duplicate the opportunity we have. You know, one example you may be aware of is Patagonia. They are known for doing this. They encourage their employees that when there's some great snow that's just fallen, or when there's some great waves happening in the ocean, their employees can stop the work they're doing and go out and ski or go out and surf. There's actually a book written about this called Let Them Go Surfing. And the idea behind this is that there are a lot of corporations that are trying to help their employees be able to choose when they're doing their best work, to have that flex time. Now, when you start building doTERRA, you're given that opportunity right away. This can feel overwhelming to some people to be in complete control of their schedule and their time. So I want to serve you within this area if that's something that you've been struggling with. But really, the goal here is that autonomy with our time, to be able to identify and get to work at the best times that work for us. So the first thing is conscious calendaring. So what we want to be doing with our calendars is having it reflect what is most important to us and being able to assess that on an ongoing basis to make sure that it's working for us. One of the things that I think is really important when it comes to your calendar is that your biggest priorities are in there before anything else. This includes things in your personal life that you value, family times together, exercising for your personal health, meal planning if nutrition is a high priority for you. So those things need to go on the calendar first so that everything else can work around them, because that's a great feeling to have, to know that everything has a place and everything is in its place. So your calendar you want to have reflect the whole you. What I recommend doing if you find that it's not working for you right now is to take everything off of it, put it onto paper, and then reassess it, reprioritize it, because you're in control of it. That's the great news as a business owner building doTERRA. Now, there's some cleansing that we can do if we find that this process feels overwhelming. This would be a really good place for you to start if you're somewhat new to this, okay? So the first thing I recommend is that you track your time for 3 days and get really honest about where your time is going. You can do this. You can even rate it, like I was sharing earlier, around the energy that each thing is creating for you. But track that time. Take a look at where everything's going. And then you want to have a good look at it and ask, what are better ways to optimize this? So there's 3 areas you want to look at when you look at everything that you're doing in a day. You want to look at, is there a better way to do this, right? That's the leading question that led us all here at some point, is there's got to be a better way to take care of my health. So when you're looking at your time, you're looking at what's the better way. So you're looking at automation, you're looking at delegation, and then elimination, getting rid of it altogether. So automation with your time, some common areas within your doTERRA business that you want to look at how you can automate would be creating templates. So if there's emails that you're always sending, create templates and store them in a virtual notebook like Evernote, something where you can copy and paste. If you use Gmail, for example, you can actually create pre-written responses that you can copy paste right within it. Email is another beast here within our work. And, one way to actually relieve a bit of the pressure on your time is to create an email series for your customers, something that takes them through that onboarding process. So you're not dealing with everything individually all the time. You're really looking here at what are those things I'm doing all the time and how can I create a better flow and a better system for them. Social media scheduling is another big one. Being on social media, I'm going to share with you in just a moment some surprising stats, but that is a huge distraction in our lives today. And so what you want to do is actually put parameters around that. So if you can take 1 hour on the weekend to schedule your social media for the week, that's going to save you a ton of time throughout the week. Having an automated call scheduler is another way to save time. So rather than going back and forth with somebody to book that lifestyle overview, have a scheduler that somebody can open up a link and see this is when you're available, and then they can book in. There's lots of tools out there, but really you're looking at what are the things I'm doing every day that I'm doing a lot of, and how can I move that into an automation cycle. Now, delegating is the second piece, and typically when you're around silver rank in doTERRA is when you want to look at how you can bring in a little bit of extra help to relieve your time. Because up until silver, you might not feel like you have any residual income to invest in this area. But the key question here is this thing I'm doing preventing me from actually building more income in my business? And there are you want to start looking at all the things you're doing and assigning an hourly rate to them and asking, okay, so let's say folding laundry really drains you, or cleaning your house really drains you. And if you shifted that 5 hours a week into your business and could make $500, then you look at that and you think, oh man, I'm paying myself $100 an hour to fold laundry when I could actually invest that back into my business if I just hired somebody for $15 an hour. You know what I mean? So you want to look at those things, and it's not always about just getting rid of everything, because some things do bring you joy. I know a lot of people who love folding laundry. I personally love cleaning my home. So, you kind of got to gauge that. But some examples of things you can delegate would be house cleaning, getting a house assistant, somebody to help you with preparing sample vials, packages, shipping things off for your business. If you have kids, you guys, start them young. You can start to give them a little income for doing these things in your business. A virtual assistant might be another piece you're looking at. So somebody to help you manage emails, Facebook groups, creating graphics if that's something that doesn't really excite you. But the goal here is that you want to delegate out the things that are draining you so you can do more of your work in your zone of genius. Now, the last part of optimization is elimination. Getting rid of something altogether that doesn't need to be done anymore. So knowing what to say no to. So when you think about your bottom 5 strengths, you're looking at, okay, of the, what things am I doing right now when I'm operating in that space? Can I just stop doing? And if I stop doing it, what do I need to have in place instead? Eliminating distractions is another big one. So taking a look at how you can set up your environment to not be distracting when you're doing your best work. So turning off notifications on your phone, even keeping your phone in a box away from you for certain periods throughout the day can be really helpful. Removing things from your calendar that don't support your goals this quarter. So let's say you're doing Diamond Club. This would be a quarter for you to really look at all the other activities maybe you have as a family and taking them off for this season, because that's not supporting the family goal of growing the doTERRA business. So you really want to take a look at everything and ask, does this need to be done anymore? Does this need to be done by me? Is there a better way through automating it? Now, I've mentioned a few times social media and the power of distractions in our business. I was looking at some figures for this, and you can see clearly from this that this really is our greatest competition, is the potential for us to be in a distracted state throughout the day. You can see here that the average person spends 2.5 hours per day on social media just consuming, taking in information. That's 17 hours a week, which is 3 full days a month, which is 37 days a year we spend just looking at what everyone else is doing on social media. So we have to ask, what are we receiving back for this investment? And trust me, you divert that focus, even for a couple days a week, your business is going to grow. The other thing with distractions that's important to understand is when we get distracted, and for most people, that's every 3 minutes, okay? Notice this as you're tracking your time, how often you're getting distracted. Every 3 minutes. But the problem is it can take us over 20 minutes to actually return back to a state of flow and presence with the original task. Okay. So this is why it's so important for us to really own our time when it comes to running our business. So the other thing I recommend you do when it comes to owning your time is really planning out your quarter, choosing 1 to 3 goals, whether it be personal or business, and really thinking about the seasons that you're entering into, because your quarterly goals are what are going to help you as you design your calendar and as you really look at what your priorities are. So you want to be in this rhythm as a business owner of always planning 3 months ahead. So you should already know what next quarter looks like. You want to get into that ritual of seeing things from that higher level perspective. On a weekly basis, when you've got the parameters in place, you know what your goals are. Now you're working backwards from those quarterly goals, and you're time blocking. This can be a very effective thing to do, is to assign a theme, especially if you're somebody, maybe you're a mom who has kids at home and you have a full-time job and you're building doTERRA on the side. So maybe you only have an hour per day. You want to look at time blocking your week. So maybe Monday is your admin day. Tuesdays when you do calls and mentoring. Wednesdays when you could do more head up time, videos, social media. Thursday is when you could create content for your business. Friday is when you can run errands and appointments and maybe have more white space time in your business. If you only have an hour a day though, what I suggest you do is you focus on pipes. So you just take that acronym. So Monday is prepare day, Tuesday is invite day, Wednesday is present day, Thursday's enroll day, and Friday is support day. That's a really simple way to make sure that your business is always growing. Time blocking your day then can look like, so if you have themes to your day, then you want to look at how you can actually time block your day to ensure that there's a place for everything. One of the biggest tips I can give you here is to actually have a time and place where when you're going to be checking social media or consuming content, because that can be one of the biggest blocks in your business. So you want to assign a time for that. You want to think about, once you've tracked your time, you'll see that you might be doing a lot of things throughout the day, and you could actually batch it so that you have a time for calls and follow-up. You have a time for responding to emails and checking social media. So that can be really helpful. You want to pay attention to when in your business you're feeling most inspired. That's when you want to be creating and doing your best work. You want to look at when you're feeling most vibrant. I feel so great after a daily workout, which I usually do at noon. So that's when I love to connect with people, is after that, because then I have this bright energy. I feel vibrant. When you're feeling bored in your day, for a lot of us, that's that like afternoon, late afternoon slump time. That's when you might want to consider having your consume block when you're browsing social media. Don't browse social media during your most pivotal peak inspired time, because that's what's going to lead you to feel frustrated in your day when you spend your best minutes just looking at what everyone else is doing. So all of this is really to illustrate to you that it's not about what you do in our business. You could do the same things as another person and both could feel completely different about their business. It's really about how and when you do it. On paper, we often define success as some sort of income level, the amount of money we have in our bank account, or even a rank in the work that we do. But designing your life and your business allows you to keep what is most important to you, most important. It allows you to really prioritize those things and build your business around the things in your life that are most important, because both feed each other, okay? And everything, we need to realize when we pour into our business with the right energy, everything changes. We now have a business that is living and breathing and responding to what we're investing in it. Thank you for spending this time with me. I know I packed a lot in. If there's anything more you want to learn about within this topic, I've actually created some resources for you on a landing page. You can go to wholefit.com/leadership. And I've given you some great books to read on this topic. I've given you some worksheets that support what I've talked about with you today. So I hope you can head over, check them out, play around with some new tools, but most of all, make this work matter and have it be something that gives life to so many people that you impact throughout your time in building doTERRA. But most of all, everything you give to people will come back to you if it's done in the right space.